And three, two, one. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Lo-Fi Horror Guy, and welcome to another episode of the Lo-Fi Horror Guys Growing on You Live. Thank you so much for joining. Today is going to be an extra special episode. It's going to be such an honor for me as a huge Weezer fan. Records in the background, T-shirt. I'm gonna try my hardest not to nerd out too hard on this. My man Scott Schreiner of Weezer is going to be joining us.
Hey, dude.
Scott, what is
What's up?
going on, man?
Much. How are you?
My God, thank you so much for being on today, man. I truly appreciate this.
No problem. Thanks for asking me. What's going on?
Absolutely, absolutely. Not a whole lot. Staying healthy, staying safe. How about you? Everything good your way?
Yeah, everything's good enough. Getting through this crazy heat wave. That's boring to talk about, but
Yeah,
man,
right. So yeah, we're not going to concentrate on that. Everybody, is kind of falling in it, and yeah, that sucks. But there's tons of great things going on, and we're going to dig into lots of that. So first of all, as I said, thank you so much for being on. If you've never seen the show before, we got a couple of icebreaker questions that we're going to start off the show. The rest of the interview is based on your work and your craft, and then I have one finale question that I wrote just for you, Scott.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get things started, man. So if we could go and this is not a question to break up Weezer by any means, but if we could go with like a dream side project with 4 other people, dead or alive.
You know what, man? I got to play with Brad from Rage Against the Machine, the drummer.
Oh yeah, Brad Wilk.
Yeah, and that guy is so intense, and he's just got a killer work ethic. He takes it really seriously, but he's strangely kind of psychedelic and creative and otherworldly. So I don't know. In the back of my mind, I really do like playing with him.
Okay.
Awesome. I don't know, guitar players. I don't like guitar players for the most part.
Nice. Okay.
No, but I had talked to Bill from Mastodon for a minute about maybe doing something. He's a really nice guy, really solid. I like solid people that don't take themselves too seriously and good sense of humor.
Sure.
Yeah, and singers, Christ, man. I don't know. Dream singers. I mean, Mike Patton will probably remain one of my all-time favorite singers.
Dude, absolutely. His name has come up so much, and rightfully so. That dude is such a legend.
As far as vocalists go, to me, it'd be like saying you wanted Jimi Hendrix to be your guitar player. Like,
right.
I don't know. Mike Patton, he is insane. And if we could just have David Lynch kind of being our kind of Warhol or something in it, I don't know. I that would be my dream situation.
Nice. Awesome. That rules. And Mr. Bungle, I think, just released a new single today.
Oh, they did? Cool. Yeah, I follow Scott Ian's posts, and I saw that he was doing some shows with them too.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay.
Big Bungle fan. So we would go see them once in a while in Hollywood way back in the day.
For sure. Okay. Great answer. I love it.
All right.
So now digging into, as far as like my wife and I do some traveling. So if we were coming, may it be either Toledo or if we were coming out to LA, what is a local eatery according to Scott Schreiner that you would say you guys have to stop at?
I don't know, man. I mean, I used to work at a pizza place called Rosie's Pizza in Toledo. So we'd probably go there. My buddy Phil Barone runs a real good spot there. LA, oh man, I'd probably take you guys to Casabianca. It's a good old school LA kind of checker tablecloth kind of place. I don't know, man. I like pizza.
Hell yeah.
Let's do that.
Jesus. Who doesn't?
I don't know. I guess some people don't.
Oh man, I don't know. I probably wouldn't end up being too much of friends with those people, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a universal thing. All right. So now, as far as your musical background, what did your origins with music when you were younger? Were you in band? Was there certain music that you kind of heard your parents listening to a lot that drew you into wanting to do more with it?
So we had a kind of good combination with my mom and dad. I think my mom was just a huge Beatles fan, and she'd get a little corny and listen to some Neil Diamond, But then she was also playing that Jesus Christ Superstar album all the time. So I had some good exposure to some cool music. And then my dad is a jazz musician, and he was listening to a lot of Coltrane and a lot of Miles and Charlie Parker and stuff. I don't know. So that's kind of what I grew up hearing. For some reason, I think my grandfather had a trumpet, and it only had 3 valves. So I figured, how hard could it be? So I took up trumpet and played in a band at Longfellow Grade School in Toledo. And I actually started practicing and took some lessons and got kind of decent and got in first chair for a minute. But then, I mean, I was already getting beat up on the way to school and back every day. So I was like, I'm not going to go to high school with a trumpet and a bowling ball, because that's what I would carry around, would be a trumpet and a bowling ball, because I was on a bowling league too.
Oh, okay. Wild. All right. Sweet.
So I started getting into interested in music seriously when I was like 8th, 9th grade. And I don't know. I think bass just really stuck out to me when I'd listen to music and ask my dad what that instrument was that was doing that. And just early on, like bands like the Police, you know, and the Who, and just like bass just really always stuck out in my head. So I got my first bass from my mom, was a PVT 40, and I was a skinny little kid, like buck 15. You know, when I was going to high school, probably less than that even. So T40s, I don't know if you've ever had one on. They are insanely heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd lug that thing down like 3 or 4 blocks to my music lessons, and that's kind of how I started. I think and then I got a jazz bass. It was a 74 jazz bass, and it was much easier for me to play. And that was kind of my first real love bass right there.
Okay. All right. Sweet. And as far as, I guess, kind of fast forward into now, you know, with your specifics, I kind of do a bit where I do a little bit of a breakdown of, you know, like your instrument. So like the bass and just what you prefer with strings, even picks things. You know, nowadays, you know, what are you using for your basses still? I know you use Fender a lot, but you know, what specific basses?
Yeah, my main bass is on the wall. I guess I might as well show you. So that's my main traveling bass right there. It's a early 59 P bass, and it has a jazz bass, a jazz pickup put in it, which extremely decreases the value of it because somebody made a huge hole in it. But I kind of like having the PJ set up for live stuff. It's not so much my main recording bass, but that's my main live bass. And I love the maple neck, and I really get excited by old Fenders that seem to be light in weight, and old Fenders. So I have a few old Fenders. It's funny because they're all pretty much sunburst. I never got into custom color collecting.
Okay, yeah.
And so my wife will always just throw a fit like, you already have that bass. I was like, no, this is different. It's the same everything. I'm like, no, this is whatever. So, and then, you know, I work with Kevin at Electrical Guitar Company, and he's made me some amazing instruments.
Yeah.
And I'll be known to play a Rickenbacker once in a while. Yeah. I have a Music Man that I'll play once in a while. I'm a fan of grabbing different things for different projects. Last couple of records, Pacific Daydream. I think I played mostly a Mustang bass.
Oh, yeah. Really? Okay.
I think so. Yeah. So yeah, I switched it around a little bit. But on this, we're doing the secret project with Weezer, and I'm playing our producer's bass on it. And it's a Rickenbacker, but it's modded. And I'm not going to show you what the mod is. I'm gonna take his idea and go to Rickenbacker and try to get them to make me one.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. Top secret Rickenbacker mod.
Okay. Well, I mean, and to touch on that for a second, the video that you guys just released today, the Electrical Guitar Company, is that a bass and guitar?
Yeah, it's an acrylic body, aluminum necks, a bass and a guitar. I had that built originally when we were doing the Everything Will Be All Right in the End tour, because I actually played a little bit of guitar on that record, and poorly, but I played some guitar. And then we had a segment in those shows where we had a kind of a fifth musician with us, Daniel Brummel, and he was playing piano and was playing piano bass, and I played guitar on a song for that thing. But that tour got canceled, and we fired our manager, and God, it was a mess. And it was such a shame. I was just talking about it because that really is the last record that I really had fun making, was Everything Will Be All Right in the End.
Man,
It's
so
like the last time that we'd show up every day in the studio at the same time, and there'd be guys in the lounge, and there'd be guys doing this, and then there'd be guys singing, and we'd go and trade and work out stuff. And Rick Ocasek was producing, and I
yeah.
don't know, man. I miss making records like that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I mean, that's something we're going to touch on a little bit later too. But as far as like Weezer, there is kind of kind of a shift between genres in a sense. But for me and my love with the band has always been kind of the crunchier, the maladroit sound. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I could say. And
Hell,
when
I'm the guy for
everything
you then, pal. I'll tell you what.
hell yeah, hell yeah. I've checked into other your projects too, man. Absolutely. Like I see that, some of that heavy, crunchy sound comes from your influences.
Yeah, and Rivers wrote Maladroit before I met him, so it's not
Right,
like
right.
I never said that I came in and changed the sound of the band. It just happened to be that Rivers was in this kind of mode, and they met me. And even though I didn't fit the kind of Weezer mold, as many people know, it just happened to be where it was at that time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And yeah, Maladroit was like a perfect album for me to jump in on.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Yeah, and knowing too, like his interest with Kiss and when he was younger.
Yeah,
I mean, just as far as like growing up with all that. I mean,
dude.
obviously that, but
Rivers
yeah.
has Rivers has a real dark side too, obviously, and that's the side of Weezer that I was a kind of a fan of. You know what I mean? Like Undone came out on the radio, and Buddy Holly was on the radio. I was like, that's cool. And then, but like, I always say this, but when Say It Ain't So was on there, I was like, oh, that's a sad motherfucker playing some heavy, beautiful, heavy, beautiful music. And
Right.
that's when I really started to be a huge Weezer fan.
Sure. Okay. All right. So now, as far as when you were first stepping in and kind of learned that you were gonna take on the role, what were some of the first tracks that you learned? Do you remember?
Uh, I think it was about 35 to 40 demo songs for Maladroit. I think it definitely
Okay.
was over 30. So it was like I showed up to fill in, and I tried to learn a few songs off the Green Record. The Green Record was just out, and Rivers didn't want to play any of those songs. He's like, we're gonna play this song, and it goes like this, and then he would turn around and play, and he'd be like, all right, got it? And I'd just be like, yeah, dude, let's fucking play it. And we would
Damn, what
play
the
it.
hell?
But I mean, fortunately for me, I grew up learning by ear. I mean, I
Okay.
did have some schooling, but my ears are what I've made my living out of. Like my ears are pretty decent. And
Pick
so
right
from
up.
learning hundreds of cover songs in Toledo, being in bar bands, I'd learned how to pick up stuff pretty quick.
Okay.
So I just learned stuff on the fly. And I don't remember a lot of the songs that didn't make Maladroit, but that's what we worked on. I had to beg them to play Hash Pipe, and Pat did like a swing beat, like ding 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 ding, and I was just like, oh, dude, come on, can we just play Hash Pipe, please? That was my introduction to Pat.
Okay. All right. Just the silly old self. That seems like who he's always been.
Yeah, dude, everybody loves Pat.
Okay.
Who don't like Wilson?
Yeah.
I've
Very
yet to
true.
meet somebody who
I
said,
mean,
that Pat Wilson, I don't know about him. Like, never have those words been spoken.
I'm a drummer, so I play drums, and I had what I call the band, which was me and my buddy in our basement when we were teenagers. And our weekends, as opposed to getting hooked on drugs or just getting drunk every weekend, we always were playing Weezer sets. We would
Oh,
just
cool.
come up with different tracks, and we would come up with a 20-song list, and I'd play drums and he'd sing or play guitar or whatever. And
Yeah.
Pat Wilson was definitely one of the first influences on me for learning my craft and playing drums.
Well, that's
So,
amazing, because then you learned about how to have a backbeat and groove, and
mhm.
that guy's got a kind of feel that not many people have, and
Yeah.
it definitely comes more from kind of a Bonham kind of school, and I just love that. It's heavy as
Absolutely.
can be.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as far as your guys' live show, do you have any sort of, pre-show rituals? Do you have any sort of warm-ups that you do either vocally or just kind of getting, in the rhythm with everything?
It's so weird. Obviously I've been in the band for a long time. We've done so many shows. We've gone through a bunch of different rituals, and some of them have been really fun and some of them have not. Last year we were doing this little barbershop quartet warm up because we were doing a barbershop thing with the straw hat and the jacket and everything. And so there's that. A couple years before, I had fun. Me and Rivers were playing Frisbee everywhere backstage, like right behind the curtain, like in the hallway. Like even when we did Fallon, we were trying to play Frisbee in the hallway. We almost got thrown out of the building. And we got into throwing baseballs at each other too, like one at a time, mostly.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, but throwing it just like got us like physically kind of warmed up. That was fun. We used to do vocal warm-ups together, but I say right now, I mean obviously right now is right now, but we're not bonding too much on what we're doing before the show. We're a little bit in our own world right now. So I get out there, I move my feet around a little bit. I started learning how to box last year, so I would get out there and do some warm-ups and stuff, and really helped me feel like really helps me to get out of my head and into my body before I go on stage. Like if I'm thinking too much about stuff, I can't like remember the songs, right? So if I can just get in my body and get breathing a little bit, I go out there and I feel pretty solid.
Okay. And I mean, with being in the band for so long too, that's kind of, another question was as far as, how things have transitioned, or, if
oh my God, so many transitions, dude. You need a whole, a week of interviews for just Weezer transitions. It is not boring. It's kind of like being married to my wife. It is so not boring. She's like a different person every year and a half, and in our band, it's like every album cycle we approach is like something completely different, So I don't know if that's your question, but right now the stuff that I'm working on for Weezer is something totally, completely different. And it is, it's really something.
Sure. Okay. And something too, I guess to kind of hit on that point is like, there's a transition with fans. Sometimes you guys have some of the most hardcore, die hard fucking fans that are out there. And then you have certain, the albums that come out that are like Pacific Daydream or, something else to where it might be a little bit popular and they're like, oh, what is this? Come on, but the funny thing is like the White Album comes out, for instance, and all I read about when that album comes out is Jacked Up. Oh my God, this Jacked Up track is the fucking best song on there. And it's like, that is the literal whole album that they just, like, that's kind of the approach that they just came up with. And you're saying this is the best song on it, and I loved it too, but it's like, that's a little contradictory now. Come on.
Yeah. It's really something, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. So to say the least, it keeps it interesting for you fellas, I'm sure. So
yeah,
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just like, it's so different from album to album. And it's like, sometimes it comes into a kind of a pocket that I relate to and I feel authentic doing. And sometimes it doesn't, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, that's cool. I know it's going to change again. So if for any Weezer fans, you can look at it how I do. If it gets into a zone that you're not that stoked on, if you just hang in there, it's definitely going to change.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like now we got Van Weezer. Obviously, it's postponed now till next year, and it's like cool. We're going back to kind of Rivers' roots and rock and roll and guitars, right? And don't ever take anything too hard or personal, I'd say, because it's just going to change. And and like Van Weezer, I feel like is authentic for us and authentic for Weezer and Rivers, and I can get behind that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And we got the new video for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure movie got released, I think, today. Yeah. And it was really fun to see the guys again. It had been a few months. You know what I mean? Okay. And rock and put on the double neck and yeah, it's a good day today. Sure.
I was going to ask, how did you guys get involved with that?
Oh, I don't know how these things happen. Yeah. I think Keanu Reeves was having coffee with Rivers probably in Santa Monica, and they were going over script ideas and coding plans, and probably Keanu asked Rivers if he'd do a song for him. Probably not. And nothing like that.
Yeah, right. Okay, beautiful. I love that. That's perfect.
How cool is Keanu though? Yeah, I think Keanu Reeves is cool.
That whole concept, just with you being able to do that video, and then having it be a Bill and Ted sequel on top of it, and you guys being able to interact. What a cool moment.
Yeah, very cool moment.
So if I can ask, you guys, whenever touring starts back up, if they came to you and they said, Scott, we need just one song, any song that you want to play of our whole catalog, what would you throw into the set list?
You know what, man? I'd probably go with that. I really like doing the Future Scope trilogy off Everything Will Be Right in the End, because, like,
dude,
I get to have the Minotaur. We get big, gnarly intros, guitar, fun. I still have the double neck in my road case in case we busted that out again.
Oh yeah,
okay. And I don't know, man. I love that. And I had fun doing Greatest Man too. There's some good stuff on the Red album. Mm-hmm. I love singing, so if Rivers is like, hey, we're gonna do King this tour, I'm always super stoked to do that. And so there you go. I it may not be what people want to hear that much, but me, man. I'm always into crashing the party.
But that's the thing. I'm asking you. I appreciate, I guess, as far as whatever people are going to say, it is what it is. But that's why, I'm asking whoever I'm speaking with. So I appreciate your answer.
If you've had as much kind of hate thrown at you and shade as I've gotten, but you know what I mean? I could go that way. I'm going to say, like, I've gotten so much love from the fans, you know what I mean? From Weezer fans that have been supportive and been there. It far outweighs the few haters, that are there.
Sure.
Sure. And I feel like if I'm pissing people off and there's some haters, then I think I'm doing the right thing.
Oh yeah. Right? Oh, yeah. So somebody's always going to be mad. Somebody's always going to be, hating on whatever the situation.
And I'm cool being the black sheep and Weezer and the guy that doesn't fit in and whatever. Maybe I think too much of myself, but I'm comfortable with my role. Yeah. I really appreciate all the support, you know what I mean, from the people that are interested in the albums that I've been a part of. I got no hate for the people that love the first two albums. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be who we were if it weren't for those.
Right.
Fucking, it's all good. Totally stoked on everybody. Bring it on. Yeah. All that kind of stuff.
Okay. And I can dig into my introduction to Weezer really was shortly after Maladroit came out. So, my relationship with the band, my lifelong, just love for Weezer came, kind of around the era where, I was always seeing you in the band. It wasn't really another thing. And then kind of doing more research, realizing that there's different members, other guitars, so on and so forth, and I loved the first couple of albums, obviously, but the thing that drew me to Maladroit over and over again was being a thrash metal, being a metal fan. When I was younger, I was into Slayer and Pantera and Exodus and those types, and the crunchy guitars, the solos in Maladroit was always what drew me, kind of back to it over and over. Yeah. So along with the album, though, there was like damn near 3 albums worth of EPs. Do you have any tracks in mind from any of those that, that were B-sides that didn't make the album that you wish would have?
Oh, man, I can't think right now. Like, if you can imagine how many hundreds of songs I've learned since 2001. Like, I saved all those CDs that have all those kind of outtakes on them, and I'm sure I'd stoke somebody up if I could pull out a one of the B-sides off of Maladroit. Like, we messed around with that album so many times and changed keys and tempos. Like, I think I recorded final bass for that album, I'm not exaggerating, at least 8 times. Like, this is okay. This is a final bass, and then we'd go back again and be like, oh, we changed some of the tempos and the keys. And finally, one day I was like, can I just have a studio for one day to go in and do all the bass on this record instead at one time, like get in a zone, you know what I mean? And we rented a room and threw up some mics. I can't remember if it was Joe Barisi or if it was Chad. I don't remember, but I worked with both of those engineers then. But I have all that stuff somewhere. I probably Rivers has released it all either, so there's nothing really that hidden, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is on top of your guys' website, there's also like Weezerpedia, there's all sorts of subreddits that release out stuff, and I mean, like, even back when I was first getting into it, like my study jams were these little demo EP things that I made of just, like little random stuff, that I had kind of recorded down too. So, but that was the cool thing, was like, that was one thing I always loved about you guys, was the fact of like, you would get an album and then all of a sudden you'd kind of start scouring through the internet and it's like, oh my God, there's 40 more tracks on top of this that are legitimately, like not some made up thing. So
yeah, it's super fun to be a Weezer fan, I imagine, because there's so much so much material out there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I guess breaking on the aspect of the crunchiness and the solos, as mentioned, was you guys are just about pretty close, we'll say, to releasing Van Weezer.
Are we?
And well, kind of. I don't know.
Sorry,
I
go
guess you
ahead.
said it was. I guess you said it was next year, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, but nobody knows.
Tentatively, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, they could come up with some kind of half-baked vaccine that could kill the whole race off, you know?
Yeah. Well, hopefully Van Weezer gets released before that. That's all I'm
I don't know,
asking.
dude. I'm kind of down with the zombie apocalypse. I mean, I've been prepping for it my whole life.
Oh yeah. I
I'm kind
mean,
of ready. So if we'll see what shakes out here. But yeah. So, anyways, to get back,
sweet.
yeah. So in the way we're looking at it is we got the tour postponed until next year. The album will come out in early next year.
Okay. All right.
And it's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. And then there's other stuff we're working on that I can't talk about that I've already alluded to, and I don't know when that'll be out, if that'll ever come out or not. But we're recording a bunch of stuff, and Pie Rivers has already been talking about it, so you guys check it out.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of stuff leaked, but as far as we'll just keep on the aspect of Van Weezer, and we won't dig into
Van
that.
Weezer,
we'll leave that for another day.
Bill and Ted's,
yeah,
all this kind of good stuff.
So with Van Weezer, it brings us back to a Weezer of the Maladroit days, like I was just talking about.
Does it?
Like the two? I feel like it. I mean, from the singles that we've got, like the end of the game, Hero. There was a clip in a Simpsons episode called Blue Dream. Is that correct? Is that the track? Okay.
Yeah, that was Blue Dream. Yeah.
And the clip. It's funny that you brought up the Future Scope trilogy, because that clip reminded me of that, just with the sweeping solos and just the absolute sick shredding that was going on. What can you tell us with Van Weezer, just kind of further into what inspired Weezer to return to that style now?
Oh man, you know what? I think like maybe we looked at stuff and like, well, we'd like to be on the radio. That would help us. It would help our tours. And if you listen to, like, every time I turn on K-Rock, like, I don't even remember the last time I heard a guitar on K-Rock, in these last few months. Maybe it's just my timing, but I jump in the car and I turn on K-Rock and it's not really a guitar happening. Right. I'm not saying the music sucks. It sounds cool, and I think, we had kind of gone that route with a couple singles, and like I said, we're always kind of rotating around, and I think we just kind of were like, you know what, F this, like, this is what we're good at. This is what we love doing. Let's do a guitar album, and so I mean, I was stoked to hear that. Right.
Oh yeah. All right, sweet. So with that album, I guess I can say too, with Weezer fans in particular, I kind of touched on this a little bit, but you guys have some of the most critical fans. You can appreciate what you have from the Blue Album and Pinkerton, and oftentimes a lot of people kind of revert back to that and say, like, oh, this is what I want. But the funny thing is 11 albums later, you guys have some of the catchiest choruses, some of the slappinest riffs, if you will. It's just what are conversations like as far as on how to maintain playing the music that you'd prefer playing at the time, as opposed to what fans are currently pushing for sonically?
Well, I mean, it's, I guess, a good problem that we have is that we have so many singles now, that have done pretty decent, that we kind of have to play a certain 10 to 12 songs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? In a set. I'm assuming you're talking about live, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have to play these 12 or 13 songs. I don't even know. Well,
even album to album, what I'm saying? Just kind of like differences between, say, like from like a Pacific Daydream to, when the White Album came out, there's a big difference between style. Yeah.
And what's the question is in regards to that? Sorry.
Well, just as far as, like, what are conversations between, within the band, as far as, like, should we continue on a more poppy route, like a Pacific Daydream type thing, or, how about let's change it up and let's bring it back to, a little bit more of like a doo-wop, pop rock, the earlier days type thing, and bring it to like a White Album? What are some of the conversations as far as, how you want that to go? Does that make sense?
What? Yeah, it does make sense. I'm going to have to pass.
Okay.
On this question, because that would assume that we're having conversations.
Oh, okay.
So you have a different idea of what it's like in
Okay.
Weezer right now.
Okay. All right.
You know, and I'm not slagging on it. I'm just saying, like, I can't lie and tell you we're
Yeah.
all sitting in a room going like, all right, we're a band. Let's think like what would, do this or that. Like I said, we haven't. I don't feel like we've really done that in quite a few years.
Okay. Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. That's not a problem
But you know
whatsoever.
what, man, and you, anybody that's like been in a group or a marriage or anything for a long time, like it's not easy to keep a relationship going for a lot of years. Like it takes a lot of work, and I feel like Weezer's found a way to stay together and keep working and keep performing and keep putting out new music.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, sometimes it's the way I like it and sometimes it's not. But I'll tell you what, I'm glad that Weezer's together and that we're releasing new music, and it kind of is the way that it is right now. And we're not really sitting around and talking to each other about what we'd all like. And but we are together, and that could all change for all I know. And next year we might go back to like, all right, let's get into a room and toss some ideas around and talk about what direction we want to go in and what do you got and what do you got, and let's make an album together. Like that could happen again, right?
Sure. Okay.
So let's stay together, let's work it out, and be happy that we have some new music coming out that we all are stoked on.
Hell yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. I absolutely love that. So, I myself, and I know tons of other fans and my friends that are fans are very, very excited for this new album. So,
yeah, it's rad.
Just patiently waiting. We're just,
Yeah,
and then now, with the new single today that came out, is that on the album, or can you say that?
Oh, I don't know. Who knows what the album will be once it comes out? It could be a whole different album by the time it actually comes out.
Okay, you're gonna have to re-record bass a couple times.
That's fine, dude. I'm used to it. It's okay. We need you to record bass on Van Weezer again. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
All right, give me a little bit. I'll be down about a half hour, I guess.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun. Like we're doing it all from home now, so I get to be here with the fam, and yeah.
Sure. Okay. Has there been any sort of, just kind of adapting with times? Has there been any sort of like remote, not recording, but writing, as far as, like using like a application to send riffs back and forth to for bouncing ideas?
No, we are actually recording from our houses.
Oh, okay.
and finding a format that we can send into our producer where they're working on stuff.
Oh, okay.
So
wow.
we're actually, like I said, we're actually recording.
Sweet. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And we all have decent enough setups at home and equipment, and we can work on stuff. So
is that a process that you're kind of familiar with?
I'm getting more familiar with it. I've done a little bit of it, but I'm like everybody else these days. We're figuring out new ways to function. I mean, we shot that Hero video all ourselves at home. And we're the last couple of tracks that have come out, we've recorded at home and sent in the tracks, and it's our producer's job to put it all together. So yeah, it's working.
Sweet. Okay. Awesome. Well, you know what, man, I'm not going to keep a whole ton of your time.
Cool.
I truly appreciate it. I do have one last finale question for you, but this is your opportunity to just kind of pitch what you guys have going on, what you have going on even. You want to let some people know a little fact or two,
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows I got really messed up on modular synthesizers a couple years ago. So I have this giant wall of synths, and I make some real hellacious sounds with that. And actually, I just did a little music for my friend Tad Good, who's a old school Weezer fan and new school Weezer fan, for his podcast, which I think is called First Time. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to get more into making music, maybe for different film and stuff. I know everybody thinks that it sounds pretty horror film-ish, but I like doing that, and so I'm going to keep making my own music over here, and I'm super excited about what's coming up for Weezer, and always writing and hoping that we can get together and work on some new stuff soon.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, if you did something with scoring, that's incredible. That's definitely a whole other different, kind of realm that you can get into with the keyboards.
Yeah, for sure.
I
mean, I got lots of things to make lots of different sounds over here. So.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you were mentioning it earlier. Are you a scary movie fan?
Yeah, I'm a old school horror fan since I was a little kid.
Oh man, how did I not know this?
I don't know. My dad used to like put me on the couch when I was a toddler and watch like the Saturday horror movies on
Oh
TV
man,
back
that
in the old
rules.
day.
What
So I
what were
just
some
grew
of your
up seeing all
favorites?
that. I mean, I just had so many nightmares that like really shaped who I am, you know? And then when I was in eighth grade, they showed Night of the Living Dead at the grade school in the auditorium, like turned out all the lights and showed that movie. And I just like, it screwed me up so much for life.
Oh
And
yeah.
I still have zombie dreams. But look, man, zombies are, I mean, I guess they're kind of passing kind of thing now. But yeah, I'm a huge horror movie fan. And I
Sweet.
think Tad's podcast, that first time thing, has something to do with horror movies too.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to check
Does
that out.
yours?
Yeah, that's the lo-fi horror guy. That's what this is
Well,
primarily. It
we'll have
takes
to
into
talk again next time, man. I mean, I'm not like a movie buff, but I
okay.
got I got a few chops and stuff. We could talk about that.
Hell yeah, that's sweet. That's awesome. Yeah,
All right.
I'd surely do that. We'll dig into just this one finale question here, and then
That
we're
wasn't
gonna
the
get you.
finale question.
It wasn't. I'm sorry. I
It's
apologize.
okay, man.
I
Bring on the
pulled a quick
finale.
one. All right, here's the finale, real quick here. So you were a member of the band the Scrantones. I wanted to dig into this a second.
I don't know if I was a member so much,
well,
but
you were a
I was
live
involved
member.
with the Scrantones. Yes, sir.
Sure. So if there was one television, just like a program theme song that you wish that you could have written and recorded, what would it be?
I don't know. It'd probably be the Twin Peaks thing,
Oh shit!
right? Like Angelo Badalamenti. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but man, that guy writes some beautiful music. But I had that question, like, what do you wish you would have written? Like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, like we'd have to sit around and write for 8 hours a day for 20 years to come up with something, right?
Yeah.
Like writers get up and they write every day and they write like thousands of shitty things, and then finally they can write something decent. So we'll just have to keep writing, right?
Yeah.
But,
If that final product is that Twin Peaks theme.
yeah, the Twin Peaks music is sick too, and the Twin Peaks: The Return was amazing too.
Awesome.
Did you see that?
I have not yet.
You
No.
can't sit here and tell me you haven't seen the Twin Peaks: Return, bro. Come on.
I know. I'm slacking.
Right. I'm not going to be on your podcast again until you've watched it.
I promise you, sir. We will get that done, and
All right.
we'll get that figured out.
All right. Good talking to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Scott. I truly appreciate it, man. Lo-fi horror guy, Scott Schreiner of Weezer. Go check out Van Weezer when it comes out.
Van Weezer when it comes out. Bye,
Take
dude.
care, man. Thank you.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi, a horror guy. Yeah.